Hey there internets, I'm Michael and this is Toucan Play That Game, bringing you another edition of Game Night in Review where I talk about the games that me and others have been playing at game night. So just a little small caveat, this isn't full-fledged reviews, it's just me discussing games that I've seen played or that I maybe have played once, or just discussing this particular case of playing. So with that out of the way, there is only going to be one game in this episode, and it is Dead of Winter, which is a fantastic game, it really is. And I took 3 games along and everyone wanted to play this. I did do a poll online before going to games night, because there was a few I was considering of like, what would you take? And this was by far the winner. So yeah, Dead of Winter was the game we played last night. Now, I'm not going to do a full review here because I have already done a full series of videos on this. So that's a tutorial, playthrough and review. And I have included a link to the playlist for those in the description. So if you do want to see my full thoughts, etc., you can go check that out. Obviously, I've got the game in my collection. I've played it yet again. I do enjoy it, and it is one of those few traitor games I feel does work as a 2-player game. So for those of you who don't know, a bit about what Dead of Winter actually is. Well, as I've said, it's one of those hidden traitor games. So there are quite a few in this genre where you're each given roles of either kind of good or bad. In Dead of Winter, one of you might, and only might, be a betrayer to the rest of the game, to the rest of the group, who are all playing cooperatively except for you. And over the course of turns, you're facing different challenges. The course of the game, you have a set goal that changes each game, and then each round of the game, you have a different kind of mini challenge that you need to meet or suffer negatives for. So as I say, one person might be working against the colony, but to help hide any dubious activities that person might be doing, each person actually has their own secret objective that they're trying to meet. And this could be collecting cards, having a certain thing, being in certain locations. There are tons of them. And of course, you can probably know, but this is a zombie-themed game, and it is fantastic. It is jam-packed with story, largely due to what are called crossroad cards that you draw each person's turn, that may or may not trigger. They have all sorts of different trigger mechanisms, and then they have little bits of story for them that will have all sorts of events happen that could be good, could be bad, and they give you extra choices in the game. And as well as that, it is oozing theme as a whole. You just feel like you're in danger, and it's not so much that it's the zombies, it's just that paranoia, and the game does do that really well. Even when you're playing it co-op, it does. So that's probably enough about the game in general, and as I say, if you want to know more, do take a look at my other videos. So last night there were 5 of us playing, which is a really good number. I mean, I say a really good number. I have yet to find a bad number of players, really, for Dead of Winter. There are people who don't like doing it 2-player and say, oh, it's got to be 4 or 5, but I don't feel that way. The objective we had for the game was quite a difficult objective. I think it's called Leave It All Behind, and you have to have weapons in each group. You have to have a load of food, and I think any objective or crisis that requires food is harder than any of the others, because you always need food anyway, and increasing the amount of food you need, it just does make it a lot harder. So I thought it was a very difficult objective to meet. The game started off kind of annoyingly for me, because the first thing you kind of do decision-wise is pick your people. But when I drew my starting set of people to pick from, I was really kind of disappointed, because there was no one who stood out as being particularly good or useful for my secret objective or the main objective. And I wasn't keen on the secret objective I had, because the whole bluffing and deduction side of this game I'm actually really bad at. And my secret objective, I had to identify who the betrayer was, if there was a betrayer, and ensure that they were exiled in order to win the game. So, yeah, none of my people I had the option of really would help with that. So what I went with was Bev and John, who I felt were the most utilitarian, help the group as a whole. Because John, if other people had someone who was good for helping the main objective, he could be with them and copy that. And Bev, it's always useful to kill zombies at the colony, really. So that was why I went for those. It was very much I guess I'll go for those. It wasn't an exciting, interesting kind of selection for me. The game was progressing okay. There was a few people who'd done a few dubious things, so I thought they might be the betrayer. However, it was their first time playing, and the thing is, they're such intelligent people that I was like, you don't normally make mistakes in games, even if it's your first time, and yet you made loads of mistakes. So it's just out of character for that person to have made those mistakes just because it's a new game, and that's what they were giving as their reason. So I felt they were the betrayer, so I kept trying to call a vote to get them exiled. Now, because I was doing that, and obviously I was doing that because of what my secret objective was, everyone thought I was the betrayer. And after, I think, the third attempt of getting an exile to happen, and everyone else had been playing lots of outsider cards, which are cards that give you extra people in your group, but they also give extra people that you have to feed in the colony that do absolutely nothing. And several people had been playing those, and I'd been like going, I'm not sure that's a good idea, that's a lot of extra food, and food is our main concern here. And everyone was ignoring me, and I was like, okay, that's it. None of you are going to help me achieve my secret objective. You're all going to ask for food anyway. I'm going to be a bit of a bleep. I'll just say bleep. I'm going to play 2 outsider cards. No one else is concerned. I'm just going to do it. You're not helping me achieve my objective. I think this is the wrong thing to do, but I want the extra dice so that I can do more in the game. And the second I did that, they were like, right, definitely a betrayer. And they exiled me. So that was kind of frustrating. And as it turns out, if I had just helped the group meet the objective, we would have won the game. But I would have won as well anyway. But I was sure that there was a betrayer. I really was. And so, normally I wouldn't do the whole, if I'm not going to win, you're not going to win type attitude playing. I would be very much the team player. It's like, that's just a nice little extra if I win. It's just about achieving that objective. And I don't know if it was that I was operating on 3 hours sleep, that the game was going a bit boring, a bit frustrating. Well, not boring, just there were some downer bits that were being a bit annoying, and I didn't feel like I was being particularly good or effective and stuff, and there was a bit of downtime issues going on. And so, I decided to liven things up a bit, to go, fine, I'm going to do this. I want to have more action and to liven it up a bit. And then they exiled me. Now, my exiled objective was not to actually stop them winning. I didn't care anymore whether they won or they lost, according to my exile objective. But the exile objective I got is probably the hardest exile objective there is. And I had a look through the others, and I was like, I could maybe do that. I'm already doing that type thing. And this one, it was have 2 barricades in 3 locations, which is really difficult, especially working on your own, because each person you have there to be able to build a barricade is going to cause zombies to come in. So you have to build 3 barricades up in like a turn or two. And this was quite near the end of the game. I think we only had 1 round left. So chances of me doing this in 3 different locations, non-existent. Especially because the point that it would be considered whether or not I won would be after the zombies spawned, which would destroy all the barricades. So that was kind of another, oh, well, I'm not going to do that. I guess I'll carry on being the bleep. And so I acted like the betrayer. I acted actually against the colony, trying to kill them and cause them to fail their main objective. Now, as it turns out, they would have failed without me because there was a couple of rule misunderstandings. So, for example, someone needed to collect books and he didn't realise that once you'd equipped those, you couldn't take them back. Is that my fault? Probably, for not going into enough depth on those rules, but there's only so much depth I feel you can go into, and there's always the opportunity for them to have asked questions, but then that would have given information about what their secret objective is. So it is a very difficult situation, especially when you're not necessarily going to play this game very often. You might forget little details like that. But yeah, so they wouldn't have done it for that reason, and also someone accidentally put starter food into the main objective rather than non-starter food. So that would have, we don't know who did that, but that would have, of course, meant it was a asterisk game anyway. But in the end, a combination of my efforts, I don't feel I did that much to hinder the colony. I did go to a location and kill one person by attack on them. So that cost them 1 morale. And this was in the final round of the game. So that cost them 1 morale. So that wasn't a big deal. They had been on, I think they were at 3 morale at this point. And then the other thing I did was kind of block location. I tried to block the non-colony locations, like the grocery store. I tried to block that off so that they couldn't get there and do searching, which potentially pushed their hand a bit on what they had to do. But in the end, what was the killer was that someone tried to move a character and rolled a bite, which of course meant a lost morale for their person dying. And then it spread to the next person, and the guy controlling them did just kill that person, but that meant 2 morale loss, plus the one I'd lost them. So that put them down to 1 morale, and then they hadn't managed to get enough food, I think was the issue, to then actually have. So they lost the morale, I think, in the food, or it might have been being overrun, I can't remember, by zombies. So I did hinder a little. I wouldn't say I was the full cause. But it was great fun. It's a great game, and I do fully recommend for everyone to play it. So that was game night last night. Sorry for going on a bit. As I say, do try this out. Do take a look at my videos if you want a bit more information about how the game works, etc. And yeah, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Of course, if you have, please do check out the rest of the videos on the channel, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends and family, please. Also, you can find us on social media. We're on Facebook and on Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.